Can trauma when you were young influence your gender identity? There's a lot of different ideas about this, but I personally believe that it indeed can. So hello everyone, my name is Autumn Asphodel, and I am a coach to help you live your best life and find your true purpose. You can schedule a free consultation over at autumasphodel.com/coaching. And today we're talking about gender identity and can it be influenced by childhood trauma? So this is a really interesting one, so enjoy it. Have you struggled with your gender identity, thinking that you were meant to be the opposite sex? Have you also dealt with abuse, trauma, and abandonment when you were young? If you answered yes to both these, do you think they could be correlated? There may be a lot of overlap, but can childhood trauma actually affect your gender identity? Trauma is subjective in nature, since what makes someone traumatized will vary from person to person. Generally, these things can be physical, emotional, and sexual abuse that can cause one to have heightened anxiety and flashbacks. They may avoid situations that makes the memories return, and may even seem irrational. When it happens during childhood, the entire way of life of that individual changes, since abuse during this time becomes much more ingrained in the subconscious of the person. Often those who have experienced trauma do not want to associate with anything that could bring back the painful memories. They deny and repress it so much that their mind dissociates from the negative experiences, blocking it out to a degree that they were not aware of the conscious effects the repressed memories and emotions are having on their life. So the reason why trauma from childhood can influence your gender identity is if you're trying to transition to escape from the trauma and abuse that you endured, that you're not able to properly deal with it. So you think that by becoming someone else or transitioning to someone else, the opposite sex even, that you will be free from these issues. Or it could be just another form of escapism for you to be someone else, a type of dissociation. Whatever the case is, these are all things that should be addressed prior to transitioning, because if you don't address them now, and over time if they end up getting resolved, you may realize that you made a mistake with your transition. You may be wondering how this could be related to gender identity. A large portion of those who struggle with their gender are often plagued with traumatic experiences from the past. These negative past experiences can and do shape the person as they age, making them want to find a solution to remedy the pain. Coping is also subjective, since everyone has different mechanisms for dealing with traumatic memories and events. Most resort to negative ways of coping. Trauma has the power of causing depersonalization, which is a detachment one can feel from the mind and body. They may recognize that their birth sex was the one that was traumatized and abused and want to distance themselves from this person. Thus, they may desire to transition to the opposite sex to escape the pain they feel from the trauma they endured. They feel that by being the opposite sex, that all problems will be solved, and they won't feel the negative emotions. This, however, is not the case. Transitioning for this reason doesn't actually address the root cause of the problems. This person may still have a deep-rooted hatred towards their birth sex, denying their existence. It is possible that by addressing the real issues, the person will no longer feel a detachment from their mind and body and actually be comfortable with living as their birth sex. The ones who transition, both with hormones and surgery, however, may be in for a rude awakening later in life, wondering why they did this to themselves as the depersonalization and detachment of the past and present self wears off. It is very possible that childhood trauma and abuse affects one's gender identity, making them want to escape from the person that endured the abuse. However, it's only when addressing the root issues will the person find true happiness. Transitioning should not be done until then, as they may end up regretting their decision that were based on escaping their problems instead of coming into their true self. Whatever the case, anyone who has struggled with abuse and trauma or their gender identity should get the appropriate help they need to live a successful life free of resistance and denial. Let me know how this works for you. Have a great day. From my own personal experience in my life, I think the whole reason I transitioned was a form of escapism from my male self. I did not want to be a male anymore because I realized that that male was abused, was neglected, wasn't wanted, abandoned. So what did I end up doing? I thought, well, if I was a female, everything would be better. A lot of things are better as a female because I feel more comfortable. I don't think that's necessarily the whole reason why I transitioned or anything, but I realized that that was a big part of me transitioning. And I realized that that should have been addressed first. And I really wish it was addressed first. But transitioning actually allowed me to address those issues. So if you're in that same situation, I urge you, don't do what I did. Don't rush into anything, but instead address your trauma and issues first and see how your mental health is, because you may realize that maybe you don't have those same feelings anymore. You know, it could actually change how you perceive things. Be sure to check out the amazing merchandise over at Asphodel Shop for some inspiring designs. I'm sure you're finding something amazing. Also, become a member. $5 up and above will get you early access to new content months before it is publicly available to anyone else. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are and if perhaps you have transitioned because you have had childhood trauma and perhaps it is related to your specific case. So let me know what your thoughts are. You all take care, have a great one, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.